He was called a holy man, a healer, a prophet, but also a drunk, a womanizer, a sorcerer, and a devil. His name was whispered in fear and fascination. Grigori Rasputin. From the frozen villages of Siberia, he would rise to the palaces of the Russian Tsars, from a wandering peasant to the man who some say single-handedly brought down an empire. This is the strange, unbelievable, and terrifying story of the Mad Monk. Rasputin was born in 1869 in a remote village in Siberia called Pokrovskoye. His family was poor, farmers who struggled with the harsh winters. He was uneducated, dirty, and wild, but from an early age, people whispered, "This boy is different." Villagers claimed young Grigori had visions, that he could see things others couldn't. Once, when a horse thief tried to escape, Rasputin supposedly pointed him out, though no one else had seen the crime. As he grew, he didn't fit in with ordinary life. He was restless, drawn to religion and mysticism. He would wander into the forests, praying, singing, and sometimes speaking to voices that only he could hear. By his 20s, Rasputin had married and had children, but soon he abandoned his family and set out across Russia as a starets, a wandering holy man. This was the beginning of the legend. By the early 1900s, Rasputin had gained a reputation as a healer and a mystic. His ragged robes, piercing eyes, and hypnotic presence drew both peasants and nobles. In 1905, he arrived in St. Petersburg, the glittering capital of Imperial Russia. Here he met bishops and priests who were fascinated by him. Soon, word of his gifts reached the most powerful family in the empire, the Romanovs. Tsar Nicholas II and Tsarina Alexandra had one desperate secret. Their only son, Alexei, was dying. Alexei suffered from hemophilia. Even a small cut could bleed endlessly. Doctors had no cure. The heir to the throne might not survive childhood. In 1907, when Alexei was near death, Rasputin was summoned to the palace. He prayed over the boy, whispering strange chants. By the next morning, Alexei's bleeding had stopped. The Tsarina was convinced, "This man is sent by God to save my son." From that moment, Rasputin became more than just a holy man. He became the protector of the heir to the Russian throne. Rasputin now had something more powerful than money or fame, the complete trust of the royal family. The Tsarina adored him. She believed his prayers were the only thing keeping her son alive. To her, Rasputin was not just a healer, but a saint. But to everyone else, he was a dangerous fraud. Rasputin began advising on politics, recommending who should be appointed as ministers and bishops. Officials feared him, nobles despised him, and then came the rumors. They said Rasputin drank heavily, that he seduced women everywhere, even high society ladies. They whispered that he had orgies in secret, that he used his holy reputation to take advantage of women. Some rumors went further, that he had seduced the Tsarina herself. The newspapers called him the Mad Monk. Whether these scandals were true or not, they spread like fire. And with every rumor, hatred for Rasputin grew. In 1914, World War I erupted. Millions of Russians were sent to the front lines. Tsar Nicholas made a disastrous decision. He left the capital to personally lead the army. That meant that Tsarina was left in charge of the government. And who was whispering in her ear? Rasputin. People now believed Russia was being ruled by a drunken monk and a foreign-born empress. Corruption, food shortages, and military defeats spread across the country, and Rasputin's influence only grew. To the people, Rasputin was the symbol of everything wrong with Russia. Cartoons showed him as a demon holding the Tsar and Tsarina like puppets. Politicians warned that unless Rasputin was removed, the monarchy itself would collapse. And so, the nobles began to plot his murder. It was December 1916. A group of aristocrats led by Prince Felix Yusupov lured Rasputin to Yusupov's palace. They told him there would be a party, food, wine, beautiful women. Rasputin accepted. In the basement, they offered him cakes and wine, poisoned with cyanide. Enough poison to kill several men. Rasputin ate, he drank, he laughed. Hours passed. Nothing happened. The nobles panicked. Yusupov pulled out a gun and shot Rasputin in the chest. Rasputin collapsed. But when they returned minutes later, Rasputin opened his eyes, stood up, and lunged at them. With blood pouring from his chest, he tried to escape. Another noble fired 2 more bullets, one in the back, one in the head. Rasputin finally fell. They bound his body, dragged it to a bridge, and threw him into the freezing Neva River. Days later, when his body was recovered, the autopsy revealed something terrifying: water in his lungs. It meant Rasputin had still been alive when they threw him into the river. The mad monk simply refused to die. Before his death, Rasputin had supposedly written a prophecy. If I am killed by ordinary men, nothing will happen. But if I am killed by nobles, the Tsar and his family will not survive for 2 years. Within just over a year, the Russian Revolution erupted. Tsar Nicholas II was forced to abdicate. The Romanov family was imprisoned and then executed. Rasputin's prophecy came true. Even today, Rasputin remains a mystery. Was he a holy man, a charlatan, a devil in disguise, or simply a peasant who found himself at the center of history's storm? Whatever he was, one thing is certain. The story of Rasputin is one of the strangest, darkest, and most unforgettable tales in human history. He was called a saint, a sinner, a sorcerer, and a mad monk, but above all he was Rasputin, the man who refused to die.